So friends, Mark Meadows, in his determination to prop up Donald Trump's fraudulent election claims, apparently told a whole bunch of lies in his memoir, in his book, and now he's being sued by his book publisher. Hello, karma. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, in the age of Donald Trump, do we still have the capacity to be surprised? Surprised by how lying and conniving and irredeemable some of Donald Trump's closest criminal associates are? Maybe not. Maybe we've lost the capacity to be surprised. I mean, let's look at Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, who is also his criminal associate, his indicted co-defendant, co-conspirator in a Georgia state RICO prosecution, Mark Meadows. Well, now, Meadows allegedly told a whole bunch of lies in his memoir, in his book, and he's being sued by his publisher. I don't know. That feels like a new kind of depravity, no? Here is the new reporting. This from the Daily Beast. Headline, Mark Meadows' publisher sues him for millions over election lies in book. And that article begins, the publisher of Mark Meadows' book, The Chief's Chief, has filed suit against the former White House chief of staff seeking millions in damages after he reportedly copped to lying in the book about the 2020 election being rigged and stolen. Meadows reportedly met repeatedly with Jack Smith's team in its investigation into election interference and had admitted the 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history, contradicting much of what he'd claimed in his book and allegedly breaking his agreement with the publisher. Quote, Meadows' reported statements to the special prosecutor and/or his staff and his reported grand jury testimony squarely contradict the statements in his book, one central theme of which is that President Trump was the true winner of the 2020 presidential election, and that the election was stolen and rigged with help from allies in the liberal media who ignored actual evidence of fraud right there in plain sight for anyone to see and analyze, the lawsuit from All Seasons Press states. ABC News, citing unnamed sources, reported that Meadows negotiated an immunity agreement with the special counsel's office and in the process admitted to his lies about the 2020 election. Meadows' lawyer later disputed the accuracy of that report. Meadows also faces charges for violating Georgia's RICO Act in a separate investigation into his alleged efforts to keep Trump in power. Let me make an editorial addition there, friends, in a separate prosecution of Mark Meadows, Donald Trump, and others, not just an investigation. The article continues. Meadows signed the book agreement with True Road Books just 3 days after the January 6 insurrection, according to the lawsuit filed in Sarasota County, Florida, before the publishing rights were transferred to All Seasons Press, a publisher focused on conservative authors and business leaders. The lawsuit claims that Meadows agreed that, quote, all statements contained in the work are true and based on reasonable research for accuracy, and that he claimed to have not made any misrepresentations to the publisher about the work. The book weighs heavily on Meadows' claims that the election was rigged, debunked claims that All Seasons Press was happy to run at the time, but that now come under reviewed scrutiny with Meadows' reported admission that he propagated falsehoods. One chapter in Meadows' book opens with the all-caps declaration that "I knew he didn't lose." Now, All Seasons Press claims Meadows violated his agreement with the publisher following ABC's report and is seeking millions in damages. The suit seeks more than $1 million in damages for lost profits, over $1 million in incidental damages, including hits to the publisher's reputation, over $600,000 in out-of-pocket damages, the $350,000 paid to Meadows for the book, and attorney's fees. And friends, in case you're wondering how Mark Meadows' book has been selling, I'm going to go with not like hotcakes. Here's some new reporting from The Hill. The lawsuit argues that as rumors circulated in the media that Meadows could be a cooperating witness with prosecutors, the book's bottom line was harmed. Quote, as a result, public interest in the book, the truth of which was increasingly in doubt, precipitously declined, and ASP, the publisher, sold only approximately 60,000 of the 200,000 first printing of the book, the lawsuit states. And friends, just to be crystal clear, Mark Meadows' book is allegedly a memoir. So let's just double check the definition. This from dictionary.com. A memoir is a record of events written by a person having intimate knowledge of them and based on personal observation, and usually a memoir is an account of one's personal life and experiences, like an autobiography. And Mark Meadows' memoir is, according to the lawsuit, full of lies. You know, Mark, I guess to you, all these lies you told are just fun and games until somebody, loses a democracy. Well, friends, Mark Meadows will be a prosecution witness and he will testify at Donald Trump's upcoming trial in Washington, D.C. for criminally attempting to overturn the results of the 2020 election. And yes, Mark Meadows will be an ugly witness. Mark Meadows will be cross-examined up one side and down the other about all of the lies he told in his book. Donald Trump's lawyers will try mightily to discredit Mark Meadows, to convince the jury not to believe him. But Meadows will be able to credibly testify that he told those lies. He put those lies in his book for Donald Trump. He put those lies in his book for the benefit of Donald Trump. Friends, for all we know, he may have put those lies in his book at the direction of Donald Trump. And by extension, Mark Meadows was trying to get a little something for himself, right? Because if they could just somehow corruptly, criminally, unconstitutionally reinstall Donald Trump in the presidency for a second term, maybe Mark Meadows gets to continue to be the chief of staff. But friends, when Donald Trump's criminal trial in Washington, D.C. is held, it is now scheduled to kick off in early 2024. Donald Trump will be convicted with testimony that comes from a chorus of Republican voices. Bill Barr will be testifying against Donald Trump as a prosecution witness. Mark Meadows will be testifying against Donald Trump as a prosecution witness. Mike Pence, Trump's own former vice president, will be testifying against Donald Trump as a prosecution witness. And lots of other Republicans will be testifying against Donald Trump. And friends, there's one more witness that you might not expect would testify as a prosecution witness in a trial against Donald Trump. Ivanka Trump, his daughter, Why do I say she might be called as a prosecution witness? Well, remember during the January 6th House Select Committee hearings, Ivanka Trump testified behind closed doors, but the J6 committee then played some of her videotaped testimony during the public hearings, and what did we learn? We learned that Ivanka Trump testified under oath that she believed, she credited, she accepted Bill Barr's conclusion that there was no widespread fraud undermining the results of the 2020 presidential election. Accordingly, she disbelieved, discredited, did not accept her father's claims of election fraud. Who better to testify against and incriminate Donald Trump than his own daughter? So stay tuned, folks, because it looks like we are in the chute for the Washington, D.C. prosecution of Donald Trump to begin. Precisely, it should begin now, it looks like, on February 9, because that's when, we just learned, Judge Chutkan has summoned hundreds and hundreds of D.C. residents to come down to federal court to fill out juror questionnaires to begin the jury selection process. And after all of that is done, and after the parties, the prosecution and the defense attorneys, have a chance to go through all of those questionnaires, then jury selection proper is scheduled to begin on March 4th. So we are in the chute. We are moving in the right direction. I would argue that the snowball of accountability is gathering steam, gathering size, gathering momentum, and heading in the right direction. That would be the direction of justice. And justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.